911, what are you reporting?
We got someone or something crawling around out here.
Did you see what it was? Was it a person or an animal or?
I can't tell. All I know is that my central light came on and I just happened to glimpse and see this thing running across the yard. A good-sized man or something. It looks like a man. I don't know what it was, just that it ran across the yard.
Okay. You've had problems in the neighborhood before?
Yeah, my dog was killed here just recently. I don't know what it was. Whatever it is, it's running. I couldn't catch it if I was going to chase it. But whatever it was standing up. I'm out here looking through the window now and I don't see anything. I don't want to go outside. Jesus Christ, you better...
Sir?
Deal!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh. Okay, hang on.
He's right...
Is he in your yard, sir?
Yeah, God, he's big.
Okay, what's he doing in your yard?
He's looking at me.
Oh, and the guy is on foot.
I don't know what... It's a big... real big person. That's all I can say.
Okay, but it is a person.
Yeah, I'd say it was a person, somebody really big. But he's all in black.
Is he a black male or a white male? Did you actually see whether, or was he just wearing black?
He's all black and he's big. He is big.
You know what? That trailer hits harder when the sun has gone down. I'm just saying. Hello, Rex. Hello, Vulcan. Hello, Stephen B. Good to see you guys. We are streaming to 3 locations. We're on Flip City Magazine. We're on Darin Wagner's channel. And on my humble little channel. Because we're going to be talking in depth with DEMI-FOOT creator and writer Darin Wagner tonight. Cap Infinity is here. Cap, what's up, bro? Haven't seen you in a while. Backstage, of course, I've got Darin and Christy right now. I'll have them come out here in just a moment. But I was just, I have to, while I have the opportunity to monopolize the time, that trailer hits harder when it's dark outside. Like, as many times as I've heard it, the hair on my arm stood up. Hello. What? Hello, Carrie, darling. Wonderful to see you. So let's bring out the crew here. Darin Wagner, the writer and creator of DEMI-FOOT. Come on out. Hello, Darin.
Hi.
How are you, pal?
Oh, Doc. I'm doing peachy keen. How about you?
I'm old, but I'm all right. And
right behind you.
Let's bring out our, yeah, you are literally right behind me. Let's bring out our lovely producer, the publisher of Flip City Magazine, Christy Flip City.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Thank you. I am simply oozing with excitement to be streaming tonight.
The excitement is seeping through my pores.
Every pore.
It's good to see. Look, it's good to see everybody. If we miss you in the chat, you have to give us a minute. Evie Muck's lag a little bit behind you too.
Please, 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 please. Mwah. Vulcan, Carrie, I have missed you guys. I really have. I've had multiple life changes in the past several months that make it nearly impossible to stream, but I've forgotten I actually kind of like it.
Yeah.
So like, I've missed you guys.
People don't know, Christy, that Christy and I actually got a divorce, and I ended up with custody of Darin in spite of my best efforts to get rid of him. So we've been a little at odds, but we decided to we could be civil tonight.
Okay. I agree.
That's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Yes.
Okay,
which, by the way, eventually I will be kicked off to hang out backstage and push buttons.
Well, that's
But my
That's
bearded son was the
you,
one that told me that.
my loving bearded son. So, what I'd like to do tonight is there's some exciting stuff coming that we can't talk about yet because it's not a done deal yet. But the fact that we're going to be pushing a little bit on DEMI-FOOT tonight, it occurred to me, Darren and I were hanging out, and I said, you haven't really done a real interview. You've gone on shill streams and you've shilled a little bit, but you haven't really been interviewed. So I'm going to put on my interviewer hat tonight. We're going to interview the shit out of this guy. We're going to find out why his father didn't love him. We're going to make it all happen tonight. And we're going to deep dive into his creative process, his book, and what makes the man tick. So grab a beverage, kick back, relax, and enjoy the show.
By the way, did we mute Darren? I did not mute Darren. Darren, can we
No,
hear
I
you?
think
Okay.
yeah, I just was keeping quiet. Silence is my native tongue.
Since when?
Well, it used to be my native tongue.
That's
That's
true.
That's one of the epitaphs of the U.S. Navy submarine service. They painted on the buildings that silence is our native tongue as you're marching.
The silent service, yeah.
Yes.
Like
Thank you, Carrie.
the second Darren starts like beard splaining, like I just like glass over immediately. I'm like, oh wait, shit, Darren was talking.
Well, I
Thank
could
you,
be an
Carrie.
anesthesiologist.
I had a very nice Memorial Day. Thank you. I went and paid tribute to the fallen comrades, and then I worked because that's all I do. I sit and I write. All right, so uh, Christy,
Bye.
no, not
Oh,
right.
I thought you were kicking me out.
Christy, you do stuff too. So before you bail on us, tell us what's going on with Flip City Magazine.
You guys, so like when I told Scott that I was streaming again tonight, he of course went and grabbed a magazine, and it was the Parody Special Edition of Flip City Magazine. This has been published, I think, now for about 4 months. I think
Yeah,
3 or 4 months ago is when people started receiving these straight to their mailboxes. We are super proud of this particular edition because it's been 5 years in the making. It includes all of our best parodies of Flip City Magazine published in the last 5 years, and we have a really cool collector card set that he did not set those out for me to go along with them. That isn't available in our store. We just realized, dude, these things are going to become real collector's editions, and they're going to be promotional materials very soon. So make sure you follow us on social media, especially Substack. Find Flip City Magazine on Substack and subscribe to our Substack, and you will have a chance to win our very first collector card set to go along with our Parodies Only special edition. You're not going to want to miss out on it because we demand that you respect the lore.
respect the lore.
Oh, and flipcitymag.com. Yeah.
FlipCityMag.com, and that's on Substack, or is that the website?
Hey, hold on real quick. Vulcan, I swear we did send all the cards out, so I will get those replaced for you. Thank you for letting me know.
Right on. See, I'm nowhere near that professional. If he had said that to me in the chat, I'd be having a meltdown and a panic, running around the house looking for whatever I got to do to fix it right in the
Oh
fuck.
no, I'm the queen of putting people off. I'm a procrastinator by nature, so
I panic. I panic when it comes to art sales, that kind of thing. It's a right now thing. You know what I'm saying? And I'll tell you why. Because I have done gallery showings where I've had paintings that have sold, and I've had people back out before I got their money. I'm like, you son of a bitch, they just left. Hey, what's going on, Jason? Good to see you. Jason Bascom in the house. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful to see you. One of my favorite artists, by the way. So yeah, flipcitymagazine.com. And what is this?
Well,
Flip
actually,
City.
that will take you there too. But
Okay.
flipcitymag.com is our
Okay.
URL. So you guys, if you've never heard of Flip City Magazine before, we are a comic satire magazine in the tradition of Mad and Cracked back when they were cool. Not
Yes.
these days. We've kind of picked up the torch and started running with it back in 2020. But it's flipcitymag.com. And thank you guys for inviting me to stream to my channel
Yeah.
with you cool guys.
Thank you for allowing us to bring our hobo show to your channel.
And I'm super excited to like just basically for the rest of the night sit back, watch the interview with Darin Wagner because I really, even though we love to make fun of Darin, I think he is a fascinating and fun character. So, and you're a great interviewer, Doc. So I'm looking forward to it, and I shall push buttons.
Feel free. Push as many buttons as you like. Buttons aren't toys. I'm sorry. My brain goes into a weird place where I start just quoting random lines from movies. That's from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Buttons aren't toys.
Buttons are totally toys.
Buttons are toys. All right, get out of here.
Okay, bye guys. See you on the other side.
Now, here's the problem. She's off camera now, and I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys will be able to hear her, but we can still hear her. So she'll screw with us from backstage, like she's
Yep.
doing right now.
Like she's doing right now.
Darin Wagner, my friend.
Yes.
We've known each other a couple of years now.
Yeah, it's been about 2.
Yeah, yeah. Darin and I are both Navy veterans. I was a scrunt, half squid, half grunt, corpsman with the Marines, and Darin was in the submarine forces, which to me is far scarier than me crawling through the mud getting shot at. I would prefer that all day long to doing what you did, Darin. But before we start talking about that, tell the people just a little bit about yourself. Where you from? What got you into comic books and wanting to write a comic book?
I got okay. So I grew up in a small town in Wisconsin called West Salem. Called West Salem because there's a Salem to the east, so they decided to call it West Salem. It's a suburb of La Crosse, which is right on the Mississippi River. So while I am from Wisconsin, I'm also quite familiar with Minnesota as well, right across the river. I went to school for journalism, worked at 2 newspapers.
No, wait.
when I was in high
That's all.
school.
That's already opening up shit right there. I went
Okay.
to school for journalism. How old were you, and what went wrong in your brain to make you think that was a good idea?
Well, at the time, the late 80s, early 90s, the newspaper industry was still quite strong. Nobody knew that the internet was coming.
Right.
It was the outlook, the perspective was very good for that. And glad we got that sample banner there.
Christy, what the hell? Sample banner. This is a demonstration of the banner, and this is how it will look. Thank you for that.
We have a gremlin? No, we just got Christy. All right. So
Daniel's Hot Topic says, "Hi, Darin. You were in the Navy. We'll get there."
yes, I was.
Yes. Eccentric, what's up? What's up? So go ahead. You decided to go to school for journalism, and again, you
Right.
said you said the time period, but about how old a fellow were you?
Oh, I was about 16 when I started working for a small town weekly newspaper called The Countryman, and I decided, yeah, I'll do this for the rest of my natural born life.
All right.
Eventually, of course, I was doing all the boring stuff: school board meetings, village board meetings, dog and pony shows, things like that. And then maybe I'll get to the more meaty stuff where I'll be able to have a column or something.
Right.
But
When you were envisioning your career, was it the columnists that were just killing it in syndication that you had in mind, or
eventually, yeah.
investigative journalism? What was it?
Well, I did a little bit of both. I mean, there was a time when, like, for example, if there was a panhandler um, in town, who nobody'd ever seen before, and then later on in the day, that panhandler was gone, but another panhandler took his place, I'd be like, okay, that's interesting. Let me go ahead and stake these guys out, maybe follow them, try to figure out where they live, maybe if they drive a car, what kind of car they're driving, things like that. That's like what I used to do. And then you just go out and then you come back and you write what you found.
Right.
Investigative journalism, that kind of stuff. But and then you do that, and then eventually maybe the
was the fellow like driving a Mercedes to a nice home? You can't leave us hanging like that. What was the story?
He was driving a Cutlass.
Okay.
Oldsmobile Cutlass, and he had nicer shoes than me. He asked me for a couple dollars. And I said, "What are you talking about? You got nicer shoes than I do." And he's like, "Oh, well, a friend gave me those." I'm like, "Yeah, I bet a friend gave you those." And it was, and it turned out there was this panhandling operation. We see this all the time now. Where you have, and if your timing is just right, you can see the sort of changing of the guard. Well,
yeah,
where somebody will, it's like that cartoon where the sheepdog and the coyote, clock in for the day, more on Ralph Lauren and Sam. It's kind of like that. And that was brand new back then.
Okay.
And so that was something I did. You'd have. I'd cover a high-speed chase that went through town, and I remember one guy escaped from. We had a. It's called the Lakeview Mental Health Center, which is a euphemism for what we used to call it. It's an old Kirkbride asylum, and he escaped, got into a car. Went 90 miles an hour in a 35 zone, crashed into a fountain in the center of town. Got out of his car, stripped down naked, got on top of the hood of the car, and started doing some, uncouth things to himself. That is
Pulitzer Prize material.
I know. It's like, Darin, do you want that? Yeah.
Hey, Darin, there's a drunk guy naked dancing on the hood of his car. Why don't you go cover that? Son of a bitch. All right, so in light of that, you kind of started working in the paper first and then decided, okay, this looks like a good career, so I'm going to go to school and get my degree. Yeah. All right. Where did you go?
For the first 2 years of undergraduate study, I went to a college that doesn't exist anymore in Davenport, Iowa. It was called Takeo Marycrest University. It had been a all-girls school that got bought by a Japanese corporation called Takeo. And it advertised itself as this beta test site for computer graphics, and nobody knew what that meant back then. Things like that. And it had a fairly decent publishing program as well. They had a weekly paper there, a student paper, and the idea was that you could, if you worked there, you could also get an internship at the Quad City Times, which was a Lee Enterprises paper at the time that was the same owner as the big newspaper back by my hometown, the La Crosse Tribune.
So another step on the rung.
Right. And I went there for 2 years and discovered, because I tend to do these things, that the whole reason why that college existed, why Takeo bought it, was simply so the executives of the Takeo Corporation could send their kids to the United States to absorb American culture and bring it back to, in that creativity, and bring it back to Japan. They all had and about 33% of the student body was Japanese there, and all the guys had like Harleys. There was like a Japanese Harley gang there, and they all had big screen TVs. They all had game systems and everything, their entertainment systems and everything. And I'm like, now I know why this place is so expensive, because we're paying to go here, but the Japanese kids are getting paid to go here, and they have a monthly stipend, and they're spending all their money. And I just said, forget this. And so I finished the second year and I left.
Okay.
I went back to,
All right. So still a young man. The
filming,
dreams,
man.
the dreams of being Walter Cronkite have been dashed.
Yeah.
Did it sour you on journalism or just on that path?
There wasn't really. I could see something very odd. The public relations major took all the same classes that a journalism major does.
Uh huh.
And of course, what a public relations major is learning how to do is manipulate mass media,
Right.
right, for a corporation. So there's like, and I just there was, basically the farther away you get from that small town local newspaper, the more yellow journalism started happening. The more there was agenda driven stuff. I mean, bigger the bigger the community, especially. The more beholden you were to the AP Newswire and Reuters and things like that.
Right.
So I mean, there was, you just basically regurgitated the stories that they would send you over the AP wire.
Right.
You didn't do any of the stuff. There was no attempt by the staff writers on any larger newspaper to get to know the community, because they were all trying to get to their next gig. Like they want to move up to like
So that kind of
Fresno or
soured
something.
you on the whole experience.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
So
it wasn't journalism didn't exist anymore. I've discovered.
So, as a young man, disillusioned after the first, you get this great idea that you're going to join the freaking Navy.
Yeah, I dropped out of undergraduate study after my third year, because I was doing the student loan method, and I just didn't see a future in journalism for me at that point.
Certainly not one that was going to pay back those loans.
Right.
Right.
So one of my favorite movies that had come out when I was in high school was The Hunt for October. And I'm also a huge Star Trek fan, so the choice of going Navy and going subs was the obvious choice for me. I looked at the various recruiting videos, and well, I don't think I could ever be a Marine. Those guys just doing things that I don't think I could do. But I look at submarines, and I'm like, I don't know if I could do that. I think I can, but nobody ever really knows what they're getting into when they enlist in any service. They really don't. They're always
True story.
There's always a shock to your system and everything. So I got in, qualified for the submarine program, went through sub school, went to firefighting school.
Yeah, that's a little known fact people don't know. Every sailor in the U.S. Navy is a certified firefighter. All of us. Because, and here's the reason, it was explained to me when we were on our way to firefighting school. If you're aboard a ship and it catches fire, there's nowhere to go. You have to fight the fire. You can't run away.
But
yeah, you dropped out for a second. All right. So,
I might have to shut my window in a second.
So you're headed off to boot camp, and you went to Great Lakes, right?
I went to Great Lakes Naval Station. Yeah.
Now, see, when I served, and maybe some guys out there were 3 boot camps for the Navy. One was in San Diego, one was in Great Lakes, and one was in Orlando. Orlando was the co-ed. That's where the female sailors went. San Diego is where the cool kids went, and then everybody else went to Great Lakes. But they shut down San Diego, and now everybody had to go up to this frozen wasteland outside of Chicago to Great Lakes Naval Training Center, NTC RTC. Yep. So you went there, and it is important for context. What month did you arrive?
I arrived in November.
Oh,
and left in very early January. And the lake effect is real. I can tell you. Growing up in Wisconsin, we have 30 below winters all the time. But there's something extra cold about the air that comes off of Lake Michigan and blows right over the base. It's
Yeah.
it's a special kind of hurt.
Yes. Yeah. And that, by the way, would have been the deal breaker for me. I joined the Navy, and I was good to go. And they said, well, which boot camp do you have a preference for? And they told me about all three. And I said, well, I want to go where there's sunshine and warmth. So anywhere except Great Mistakes. And they sent me to San Diego. So yeah, excuse me. I'm old and my lungs are gone. So you decided on submarines, and that was locked into your contract from enlistment, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I was guaranteed to go to submarines as a what they used to call a striker, which meant that you would get there and you wouldn't have any rating. And the idea was you could figure out which job on the submarine you wanted to pursue, and then you would leave your boat to go to your A school and come back. Well, when I was in basic enlisted sub school, which is basically your second boot camp after
Right.
regular Navy boot camp, you have to go to BESS, and half of BESS is just unlearning all the stuff they taught you in Navy basic training because it doesn't apply to subs, in terms of ship design and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And they came up to me about a month in and said, the sonar A school is looking to increase headcount, and your scores are pretty good. Do you want to just do you want us to essentially upgrade you from a striker to just having you go to this sonar A school? And I took it. I'm like, that's kind of what I wanted to do anyway.
Yeah.
And so it worked out real well. I got to go to the A school.
Yeah. So let's tell folks that might not know what that is and why that job is maybe the coolest enlisted job on a submarine.
Well, I'll tell you, so every rate or job in the Navy, if you ask that person what the best job in the Navy is, they'll say their rate and the corpsman rate. The only people who don't say that are the corpsmen. But no, I think that it was the most Hollywood of the jobs on board, because if you look at movies like Down Periscope and The Hunt for October and all that, even Crimson Tide, which is not a very good movie, but in terms of plot and structure, but the sonarman, which is always an enlisted guy, is a big deal. The sonar operator usually gets more lines than any other enlisted character in a submarine movie, and that's because he's the eyes and ears of the boat. When they're submerged, he's the first. He's operating the sensors. He knows what else is out there in the water with them and where it is in relation to the boat. In relation to own ship, and so
right.
That's
Yeah. It's not like you can just open a window and look out on a submarine.
No.
They get around by listening. And there's so much. Darin, we've talked so many times about all this, but for those that don't know, people that are only Hollywood familiar, you may be familiar with the little pinging sound of sonar. That is active sonar. That's when you're sending out pulses to specifically locate and range a target. But that's not how submarines normally operate.
Yeah, I was on Trepang for 4 years. We only went active twice.
Right.
Everything we did was using passive sonar, which is simply listening.
Right.
Calculating bearing rate and things like that.
Yeah. So basically, you would be tooling along in this tube underwater, sitting in a little cubby, not much bigger than a freaking porta potty, with a pair of headphones on and a little display in front of you, and you would go, "Hey, Chief, I think I heard a whale fart. Roger that. That's a whale fart. Notify the captain." And you would tell the captain, "Hey, there's a whale farting. Hard, fine off the bow." Right.
Well, yeah, because out on the control room there is our broadband sonar display is mirrored out there, so the captain or the officer of the deck can see what we see on the broadband display.
Right.
And they'll sometimes call in, SonarCon, what's the the indication that such and such a bearing, and we'll be like, con sonar classification biologic, which
Yeah.
is an animal outside the hull somewhere.
Right. Right.
And
It's sir, we think it's the Loch Ness monster. Nessie apparently had a double bean burrito with extra guacamole, and it's really flatulent. So that's the transient you're hearing. All right, so you're on this boat now. We got to kind of back up a little bit though, because all along the way, since Darin was a little bitty bearded little toddler, Darin Wagner loved comic books. Yes.
yes,
All right, so take us back in time. What was the first comic you remember buying for yourself?
Incredible Hulk 255. It featured the Hulk fighting Thor on the cover. It had a cover by, I believe, Rubenstein and inked by Al Milgrom.
Uh-huh.
And it was not. It was the first comic that I bought with my own money. Now, the first comic I ever got was actually Incredible Hulk King Size Annual number 8, I believe it was.
Okay.
Where yeah, sorry.
Sensing a trend. The Hulk.
Yes.
The Hulk,
The Hulk,
was your
yeah.
boy.
Hulk was my boy. Yes.
All right.
I was introduced to the Hulk with the TV show.
Okay.
And he was the first sort of monster I ever. Because I was about 4 years old in 1977 when that show came on, and it scared the shit out of me because I'd never seen a monster movie or anything like that at the time. And even though he was a made for TV
Right.
monster, but the combination of the eyes and the fact that you didn't really know what he was capable of doing, you don't know. I hadn't figured out his patterns yet, so I didn't know what he was going to do.
Right.
And I would, as soon as Bill Bixby, would flash his white eyes, I would run into my bedroom, which was off the living room, and watch the show from underneath my door. The clearance on the door was that big, and my dad thought that was hilarious.
That's so cute.
So my mom, who was kind of mad at my dad for letting me watch it, went to a newsstand somewhere and bought a bunch of comics, and she made sure she had at least one or two Hulk comics, so that I sort of help me take the edge off, and that's how I got into it.
All right.
Later that yeah.
No. So mom bought you some good Hulks, and you read them. So
Yes.
when you went out and bought your own, you were just carrying on what
Mm-hmm.
was already there.
Yep.
And there are collectors. There are people that read comics but don't throw them away, that aren't really collectors. And then there's the uber collectors. Which were you?
I think if you talk to most normies, they would think I was an Uber collector, but I honestly don't think I was, because I until about 1987, I was relying on the newsstand spinner racks.
Right.
I had two in my hometown.
Right.
So that meant I only got half. I only had access to about half the comics being published by the big two, and none of the indies.
LCSs were not a big thing back then.
No, they weren't.
I was the same way. For me, it was the drugstore and the little stop and go mart in the middle of nowhere had a spinner rack.
Yeah.
That was it. And you
Yeah.
go pick through it and find one bent, crumpled ass one hanging over, and that was what you got.
Yep. Yeah, I walked 1.5 miles in one direction from my house. I would go to a liquor store that had a news rack and a spinner rack right next to it. And the owner would always peek around to make sure I wasn't looking at the nudie mags. He had the comics because that came with the deal, I guess, with
Right.
his newsstand. And then if you walked another 1.5 miles in the opposite direction from my house, there was the local drugstore, and they had. So I got 2 weeks worth of comics. I was able to figure out when each spinner rack got their new issues, and you figure things out like that when you're a kid.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, there were some characters in some comics that I knew of because I saw the house ads for them, but I never actually read them until years later when I did find an LCS.
Right. So we're going to jump forward and then jump back a little bit again. Every person who's ever served in the military has this story. I had this really great collection. Then I joined the Navy. My mom threw it away or sold it. Did that happen to you?
No.
Okay, no. I remember you telling me something about your brother though,
Mm,
and your
yeah.
comics while you were deployed.
I
How many did you have when you rolled out?
I had probably 4 long boxes
Okay.
at the time. And yeah, when I left home for boot camp, they were all in my closet, all tightly. I back then I was putting backer boards on them too in bags, and when I came home from for the first time after joining, over a year later, I came into my old bedroom and found a whole bunch of comics that my brother had pulled out of the boxes, and he just left them on the floor. Uh, all of them out of their bags and backer boards. Those bags had UV protection, coating on
uh,
them, and the sun had been shining. Because they'd been laying there in the floor for a year. All the covers were faded from the sunlight, and yeah, and
no.
some of them were quite, some of them were quite, personal, as far as a couple of McFarlane Hulk Spider-Man
Oh my
and
gosh. So
faded covers. So
so
yeah.
the short version is when Darren was finally sentenced to prison after killing his brother, that's when he developed a taste for writing. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Um, yeah, a lot of guys, and I know you've heard that story too. A lot of guys told the one though about mom threw him away while I was gone. Happened to me. Hello, Planet X87. Wonderful to see you. Welcome. Um, excuse me while I fire up another stick of life.
Used to do that.
Now, I happen to know they don't deliver comics to submarines while they're deployed. A little hard to get them. But one thing we've never talked about was, did you take some on board with you and reread them over and over and over again, or no?
Not the floppies. I would take a couple of trade paperbacks,
Okay.
especially when I was still trying to qualify subs. I found a couple of guys on board who were comic fans, and when you first get to a submarine, you are what they called a nub.
Hmm.
You're not qualified yet. You're submarine unqualified, which means you're the lowest form of life on Earth.
Right.
You don't get to watch movies with the rest of the crew on the cruise mess.
Right.
You if somebody catches you doing something, it needs to be that you're studying or you're working on qualifications, because they need you to be qualified to be able to stand certain watches and things and relieve the crew. But different people want different things, and sometimes you'll come up to somebody like a torpedoman, for example, who's on watch. Hey, I'd like to learn about the tube system here for qualifications,
Right.
and they might want to talk to you in that moment. But if you find out what kind of candy they like and you bring that candy on board, that
Yeah.
softens the deal, or
Yeah.
softens them up. But some guys, I said, hey, I got this trade paperback. It's Batman year one, all 4 issues,
Yeah.
and
You dropped out on me a little bit there, Darren. So for
yeah, I'm sorry.
those of you at home that aren't kind of following along, uh, on all ships, but especially submarines, you have to kind of get familiarized and certified on every system on the ship or boat.
Right.
And you don't get to wear the little dolphins, the little pins that go on your chest, until you get certified. Well, the way you got certified, you went to those departments, you talked to the people that work there, blah 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 blah. And if they didn't want to talk to you, there wasn't a whole
Yeah.
lot you could do about it. You
Right.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's funny too, because I remember an interior communications guy,
Well, let's
who
answer this question from Planet X. How long while you were in the sub? How long were you deployed at a time, underway, and how much time while underway is underwater versus on the surface?
barring any special situations, you're usually underwater for about 3 months at a time. So for example, in 1997, we had two, I think two 6-week ops, and we had a 6-month deployment. So I was underwater 10 of the 12 months of that year.
Yep.
So
That's a hoot, ain't it?
yeah, that was.
Which is why Darin now glows in the dark, by the way.
I got less radiation than somebody who works outside.
Yeah, I was going to say I got more than you roasting in the sun out there. Yeah. So when you're on a sub, Darin, because it is interesting, you and I can't talk about it so much, we kind of gloss over it. But on a nuclear submarine, which is what you were on, and there are two flavors of submarines. There's attack submarines and there's deterrent boomers. Those are the ones that carry the missiles. That's their job. Their only job is to go out there and hide and be a threat. Okay, the attack fleet, they're out there constantly tracking targets. And the Navy operates at an at-war footing at all times. So it's, where the Army might train against allies, you scrimmage against the real thing in the Navy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, if a war broke out, the submarine crew wouldn't really be able to tell the difference.
Right.
Because it's business as usual. Yeah.
Right. So the question becomes then, Darin, while you were doing this, what new and exciting places did you get to almost go to? And I say almost because, over there somewhere is Spain, but we're not there. We're just in the water passing by. Where all did you go?
Okay, so we did hit Spain, Rota, Spain. We went to Gibraltar because you have to kind of go there anyway because you're going through the Straits of Gibraltar.
Right. Hey, Omer Glitch, welcome.
Hey, Omer. Italy, France, Crete, Haifa, Israel. Yeah, and so the Med, but in the Mediterranean we hit all the usual places. We were in South Africa for like 2 days, which it wasn't really a Liberty port; it was just stores load port.
Right.
I can tell you that the fellows on board who were not white weren't crazy about us stopping in South Africa.
Yep.
So we just kind of,
yeah,
exactly. So the apartheid was still going on there, and they just.
The point to the story, though, Darin, is you kind of went everywhere on the planet at one point or another.
Right. Yeah. Australia. Yeah. We were in Australia for a while.
Yeah. What is this late night show? We're doing an interview with our friend Darin Wagner, a deep dive, because we're going to be talking about DEMI-FOOT. So which leads me to my next question, Darin. Darin is a writer, and he's a good writer. I've read his work. He has an anthology novel or novella called Captain Steele and Other Stories, and it's speculative fiction, kind of like Twilight Zone stuff, and it was really good. I read it. And I think, did you not tell me that you kind of had those stories in your mind while you were deployed? You were kind of writing them in your head?
So the last year I was on Trepang, because Trepang was being decommissioned, and that class of submarine Trepang was, I think, one of the last East Coast Sturgeon class submarines.
Right.
They started we started getting a little bit lax with security. They were and I was given permission to bring a personal laptop on board. When I would take it on board, it would get scanned. They had a special algorithmic thing that they would connect to it that would scan all the information on it, looking for defense secrets. And then obviously when I took it off, it also had to have that scan as well. But otherwise, it had a word processor on it, and I wrote short stories underway. And Captain Steele started writing that while I was still on board, and then when I got home, I finished it. There were a couple of other stories that were written there as well.
From afoot, while serving in the 13th MEU Marine Expeditionary Unit, I was on my second deployment. I made it as far as Hawaii. We were supposed to go to Singapore, Australia, and Egypt, as well as Iraq again. Were you third Mardiv or first? And by the way, thank you for your service and Semper Fi. I served with the Marines as a corpsman, permanently assigned, high and tight, wearing the green, breathing in the CS gas, crawling through the mud. So I love that life. So you were writing these stories while deployed on that last deployment.
Yeah, the last deployment we were on was basically we had to use up as much fuel in the reactor as possible, so we left Groton, Connecticut, and went down.
Did the captain say we got to go burn some neutrons?
No, he didn't say that.
Well,
But
just
we,
damn it. Well, just damn it.
Yeah.
He missed a great opportunity.
Yeah, we went down the Horn of Africa. We went up through. There was a conflict happening at the time called East Timor, so we kind of had to participate in something there.
Right.
And then we had a recreation port or a Liberty port in Perth, Perth, Australia. And then we got up to Hawaii, and we got to see that base, and then we went to Bremerton, Washington.
Yeah, Bremerton's where it all came to a screeching halt for the poor old Trepang. Oh, absolutely, Double Dog. And the corpsmen love their Marines and would die for them, but at the same time, if you leave a really good MRE laying around, I will steal that shit. Just saying. Like, if I got that god-awful chicken a la king, you better believe I'm coming for them barbecue franks and beans. Hey, so Darin, you were writing those stories. Did you finish while you were deployed or no?
Did I finish any of the stories? Well, a couple of them. Wesley, the story Wesley from which is part of the Captain Steele and Other Stories collection, was finished while I was on board the boat.
Right.
And another one also, The Walleye Will Not Return, was also, which takes place on a submarine. It's written. So,
that was very bad luck, by the way, Darin. You're not supposed to write that kind of shit while you're actually deployed.
I know.
But let me kind of let's peel your brain housing unit manifold back a little bit. Who influenced you as far as writing goes? Who were your writer influences?
When I was very young, it was Stephen King. Kind of hesitate to say that now, given that Stephen King is more known for his
rants,
his wackadoodle political views. But you know, he was arguably the most successful writer of the late 20th century. He was a superstar, things like that. You know, but I you know, there's Tom Clancy also was in there. Believe it or not, when it came to comics, I actually liked John Byrne and Peter David. As far as just the writers go.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next. Is it's weird, you know? For me, I'm a fine art painter, but I also draw comic book stuff, right? And those two do not mesh together at all. For writing, on the one hand, I'm inspired by some of the same people, you know, Tom Clancy and Tolkien and blah, 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 blah. But then you go, oh, but, you know, as a comic book writer, I really liked this one, that one. That's a strange blend to hit you. But the question becomes, Darin, that I want to know, how much of those non-comic book writers do you bring into your comic book writing?
Well, there is okay, so did you ever read a novel by Max Brooks called De-Evolution?
De-Evolution. No, I did not.
Max Brooks is the author.
Name Max Brooks, but I don't know that book.
He's the son of Mel Brooks, the funny movie guy.
Right.
And he wrote the book World War Z, which got turned into a movie. His book De-Evolution is about a bunch of college professors who live in a remote cul-de-sac near Mount Rainier. And Mount Rainier, I believe it was Mount Rainier, explodes. It becomes the next Mount St. Helens.
Okay.
And
All right.
this drives a clan of desperate Sasquatch into their valley. They're under siege, and they're under siege from Sasquatch. So I mean, I read that because that was the highest profile Sasquatch book that had come out in a long time.
Mhm.
So when I was writing DEMI-FOOT, there was a lot of the ideas, because Max Brooks, he's one of those writers who doesn't just you know uh, sit there and dream stuff up. He does research too,
Right.
and
Right.
a lot of the same research he did, I did. I mean, a lot of the same podcasts and things that I listened to, he had not only listened to, but it was also on, as part of his promotion of that book. And so there was a lot of his writing that kind of went into the background and the
Okay.
build up.
Yeah. So you kind of like to really dig into things you're going to write about, is what I'm hearing.
Right. Yeah.
And we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into that here in just a moment. Christy, are you there? Oh, producer girl, are you there? Hey, how about you run a longer ad so I can go grab a couple of cigarettes and then we'll come right back. Because, the doctor without his. Yeah, let's do that. As a matter of fact, I think we have a trailer for my book that's currently still funding over on Fund My Comic, called A Damn Dirty Thing. But a breaking news story on that: my book publisher will be releasing the next book in the Jake Bishop series called Justice or Something Like It here in the next couple of weeks. So I'm excited about that, and I am doing my best to cobble together a commercial, not a trailer, a commercial for that, for the publisher to send out to its locations, not just for our little sphere that we roll here. And it's been a nightmare. I just want to write the books. You know what I'm saying? But Darin,
Mhm.
when you were a young lad, when you were a bearded 8-year-old or 9-year-old running around in the parents' house, were you were you and hiding from the Hulk? Were you already writing? I mean, did you write at a young age? Were you showing it to your parents? Were they saying, "Oh, this boy's got a little talent here"?
I didn't start writing until high school.
Okay.
Um, I actually hated writing because the English teachers that I had at the parochial school that I was attending, they didn't they turned it, writing when you're in school, and when I was a kid, it was usually a punishment. Oh, your punishment is going to have to write, an essay,
Right.
4 pages, double, and a writing punishment, and
Okay.
I
All right. Now
I
that
got one of those punishments, and I had a fun time doing it, and then they stopped giving me writing punishments because they could see that I
yeah,
enjoyed myself.
that leads to the next question, which was, being that you were reading comics, every kid that's ever read comics has stories in their heads that they're creating for where they think the storyline's going or where they'd like to see it go. You had to be doing that. That had to be going on,
Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. It's art, even good art and bad art begets more art.
Right.
In fact, I think it was Alan Moore who said, if you want to be a writer, don't just read good books. Read really bad books too, because they can
Yeah.
often teach you more and keep you motivated
Yeah.
more so than the Tolkiens and the
Yeah.
Clancy's and
And
William
the
Faulkners.
extension of that is when you're writing, don't just write your good ideas. Go ahead and finish writing your bad idea, or at least work on it for a little while,
Right.
because it I'm getting this
Can
breaking
they
news
hear
in
you,
my ear.
Christy?
I'm getting the breaking news in my ear right now. The Hindenburg has crashed. The Hindenburg has indeed crashed in Pennsylvania. Oh, the humanity. All right, let's roll some commercials and everybody go take a potty break, and we will be right back. In a world where sequels and prequels and derivative slop rule the TV and movie landscape, one magazine dares to make fun of them all. One mag to roast them all. One mag to troll them. One mag to break their balls. And in the ratings roll them.
It's time for a tasty and refreshing snack.
Tastes so good. Cookie. I will eat them up. Cookie. Cookie. I will eat them up. Cookie. Cookie, cookie, cookie. Cookie, cookie. Cookie, cookie. Cookie, cookie. Cookie, cookie. Tastes so good. Tastes so good. Cookie. I will eat them up. Cookie. Cookie. I will eat them up. Cookie. Cookie, cookie, cookie. Cookie, cookie. Cookie, cookie. Cookie, cookie. Cookie, cookie. Tastes so good. Tastes so good. Cookie. I will eat them up. Cookie. Cookie. I will eat them up. Cookie. Cookie, cookie, cookie.
911, what are you reporting?
We got someone or something crawling around out here.
Did you see what it was? Was it a person or an animal or?
I can't tell. All I know is that my central light came on and I just happened to glimpse and see this thing running across the yard. A good-sized man or something. It looks like a man. I don't know what it was, just that it ran across the yard.
Okay. You've had problems in the neighborhood before?
Yeah, my dog was killed here just recently. I don't know what it was. Whatever it is, it's running. I couldn't catch it if I was going to chase it. But whatever it was standing up. I'm out here looking through the window now and I don't see anything. I don't want to go outside. Jesus Christ, you better...
Sir?
Dio!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh. Okay, hang on.
He's right...
Is he in your yard, sir?
Yeah, God, he's big.
Okay, what's he doing in your yard?
He's looking at me.
Oh, and the guy is on foot.
I don't know what... It's a big... real big person. That's all I can say.
Okay, but it is a person.
Yeah, I'd say it was a person, somebody really big. But he's all in black.
Is he a black male or a white male? Did you actually see whether, or was he just wearing black?
He's all black and he's big. He is big.
All better now, Doc?
I'm sorry, I have to add myself to this scene because I feel like that whole trailer is like fucking describing Darren. He's big. I don't know. He's big. Darren, I cannot
I'm
hear
not.
you still.
What's he doing right now? He's
What's
looking right
that?
at me. That's
Yeah, I'm.
like I said, that hits different when it's dark
Yeah,
outside. All right,
it
it
does.
just
It
does.
does. Yeah, that's that audio is taken from an excerpt from an actual 911 call. It was
Right,
actually two calls, but um, where the guy, a couple of weeks earlier, something killed his dog.
right.
It's like his dog ran out into the backyard. There's a woods behind his backyard because it saw something, and then he heard it yipe, and then something threw the dog back into the yard over a 12-foot fence. And,
Yeah. So,
it's just, yeah, just
so I would imagine that he started hitting Zillow.com. After that, then he decided on one after the second phone call. We got to get the hell out of here. Darren,
yeah,
cryptids
cryptids.
are a hell of a thing.
They are. They are. They've been with us for a while too.
They have indeed been around for just about as long as humans have been recording their stories, be it oral tradition or written. Now, I'm of the camp that I want to believe, but
Mhm.
I'm just that guy that I gotta see it to believe it. But at the same time, I don't want to see it, or
Yeah.
I do, but I want to see it when someone's caught one and it's in a cage. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's,
Yeah.
it's horrifying to me that, to quote Mitch Hedberg, what if Bigfoot's just blurry and the photographs are actually in focus? That's even
Yeah.
scarier because there's a 9 foot tall, out of focus monster running through the woods. That's horrifying. It's
Yeah.
horrifying. But what drew your interest to cryptids in the first place?
Well, it's funny because my dad, is from Minnesota, and Wisconsin is a huge deer hunting state. When deer hunting opening day here, businesses shut down
Yeah,
because everybody, if the owner of the business doesn't deer hunt, most of his employees do, and so he has to just shut down the business because
right,
that's a huge deal here. My dad's one of those guys, or at least he was back when he was younger, and so he knows his way around the woods here, and he knows what you can run into and things like that. And he's a very pragmatic man, but he believed and believes in the existence of Sasquatch, and um, and the reason why is because he heard what we would call testimonial evidence from men that he were like him, that knew, they know a bear when they see one. They
right,
know
right,
what a bear can do and what a bear cannot do. And these guys swore up and down that what they saw wasn't a bear, that it was doing things that a bear can't do.
right. And your
And
dad knew these guys,
know,
he trusted them,
yeah.
right?
And there was another guy that I knew in the service. He was a tribal man, a Native American man. I don't remember the exact tribe, but it was out in the Southwest, and people from those bloodlines, they don't handle alcohol the same way people from Europe of European descent
There
do.
is
You
a
get one beer in
there is a
him,
genetic
and
predisposition toward intoxication. Yes,
yes, and so you get one beer in him, and he'll tell you all kinds of stuff. He was the how in movies they always have like a military unit that has a Native American in it, and that Native American is the strong and silent type. He doesn't say much at all.
right,
But he's the most reliable guy, and he's usually able to see things the other guys can't see. And
right, right,
Predator, right?
right,
The character of Billy in Predator. He was like that. But you get a beer in him, and he'll tell you all about skinwalkers, and he would talk about them like they're real, and he would talk about the Zunaqua, which was a female Sasquatch that stole children.
Stole children.
Stole human children.
Okay.
Yeah, and stuff like that. And he gave it. He was not the kind of guy. Truthful guys often aren't very talkative because if you can't tell a lie, you're probably going to keep your mouth shut to compensate
Right.
because to keep yourself out of trouble. And he was that way. So, cryptids. At some point, every little kid gets a book somewhere about Bigfoot or Loch Ness,
Right,
or
right.
Chupacabra and stuff like that.
Yes, I still owe my
And-
elementary school that book because I stole it.
Yeah. And you start reading about historical accounts about Ape Canyon, about how Theodore Roosevelt talked about shooting one on a hunting trip. President of the United States talked about it.
Right.
Abraham Lincoln talking about the
So
super huge
how old a
bones.
fellow were you when you came across that lore for the first time?
I was a kid. I was a kid when I first came across it, and when I asked my dad about it, he was a believer, which struck me as very odd because he didn't believe in anything. He didn't believe in ghosts.
Right.
He didn't believe in
Right.
aliens. He didn't believe in anything, but he believed in that. So that gave it weight to me as a kid.
Now, when you
And
come on
then-
now, you say kid, elementary school.
Elementary school, yeah.
Okay,
Elementary
alright.
school, yeah. And then when I was on Trepang, of course, you meet people from other parts of the country,
Right.
and you start learning about the cryptids that they have. Obviously the Southern boys, they call them boys, they were men. They have this thing down there called the skunk ape, which is basically a Sasquatch that just
Right.
has a little bit more odor to him.
And not as
But he's
big.
essentially the same creature. Not as big, but essentially the same creature. You had, wood boogers. They sometimes called them. A guy from Ohio said we call it the grass man. There,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
that
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
an older woman here that went to church with us, and she would sing a song at dusk, and it was "Ain't no boogers out tonight. Daddy killed them all last night," but it was about the wood boogers that would come around up in the hills of Appalachia, and she weirded me out. Not gonna lie, didn't want to have a conversation with her after that. I gotta go.
Yeah, in Texas, there's areas of East Texas where they're called the no necks because those particular ones, their heads are like they don't seem to have a neck. They got their head is just either perched on their shoulders or it's embedded in their shoulders. Weird.
Right.
And yeah. So,
All right, so these things obviously struck your fancy. And then at some point, Darin, Sasquatch and the Hulk ran into each other in your brain.
yeah.
And maybe a little bit of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in there as well. Maybe a little bit of Swamp Thing in there.
Mhm.
And DEMI-FOOT was born. So let's go back now. Okay, before we dive into who and what DEMI-FOOT is, let's talk about how he came to be in your head.
Well, I had been doing some personal research on city parks. I've always been fascinated with some of these, like Central Park, for example.
Yeah.
Is something that, and Battery Park also is as well in Manhattan. And city parks always fascinate me, and Central Park in particular, because it's this. Everybody knows what Central Park is, but and I was doing this research while listening to certain things. I think it was Sasquatch Chronicles, a podcast. It's one of the better ones, and I decided to write this novella. I shot for a novella. If it becomes, I'm always shooting for a novella. If I finish the story too early, it's a short story, and if it goes long,
Right. Yeah.
yes. So I aim for a novella.
And publishers love novellas.
They do.
It costs them less money to print.
And I came up with this idea of a rogue male Sasquatch that, for whatever, is driven from his clan and wanders into a city's park and doesn't go away.
So
Figures
kinda,
out how to
kinda
sur-
going back to the
yeah.
books. Book.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
A little bit, because this one I didn't want to draw, or I didn't want to write rather a a monster villain like the ones in the Max Brooks books. I want something that actually. I came up with this idea that he figured out how to survive in the city by ducking into this park. When he
Right.
ducks into the park, he becomes invisible basically,
Mhm.
and he learns how to eat food and things like that from the city, and then of course when people try to mug people in his park, he prevents the mug because he can't. He's compelled to stop evil when it happens
Yeah.
near him.
Yeah.
That idea. Well, I started writing
I
writing
mean,
this, and originally it was just
hold on. That's almost the reflex of a
yeah,
domestic dog, no matter what it is. If you,
right,
like you're going to get somebody in that offensive play, they will defend instinctively.
right.
So kind of that was going on with your park Sasquatch.
Yeah, the working title was going to be Urban Sasquatch, and at the time I didn't know that there was this ultra low budget movie that was called Suburban Sasquatch, which was made by a bunch of college kids. It was of a guy. It basically is a movie about a guy. I mean, it's clearly a guy in a gorilla suit running through people's backyards and strangling people. Terrible low budget, ultra low budget movie. It's practically a
Right,
movie.
right.
I didn't know about it, but the working title was Urban Sasquatch, and as I was writing it, I ran into a problem because I had listened to so many testimonies, and I feel like I know how these creatures are. They're very deliberate. They don't have an inner monologue. They live very much in the moment. They don't even think 15 minutes ahead. They are, they're not, they're not like us in that regard. And
Right.
I realized I couldn't really get
Planet-
into the thought.
Planet X says I love Sasquatch stuff. I probably listened to hundreds of Sasquatch Chronicles podcast episodes. Me too. I binge watch the stuff on YouTube. Thinker Thunker. What's the other guy? The big one. God, I'm blanking.
Standing.
Say it again.
Todd Standing.
No, the something cabin.
Oh, Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's good.
I watch all that stuff because I want to believe. I want to believe. All right, so go ahead, Darren. Go ahead. I just we never ignore the chat here. And by the way, Planet X, stick around. We're going to show you what Darren has concocted in that lore that you can avail yourself of here in just a little bit.
And I said I can't get into this character's head because because I know too much about how they're supposed to be based off of testimony from eyewitnesses.
Right.
They don't think enough like us. The only thing human about them usually is the way they stand and walk.
Uh-huh.
So it would be like trying to write a novella with a dog as a main character, like a Rin Tin Tin story or something. So I started thinking, I don't want to write Man Thing. I want to write Swamp Thing.
There you go.
Comic book fans know the difference there.
Yeah.
They're both very similar, but one is Man Thing is like he's just an elemental force. He's
Just
not really
mindless lumbering mass.
yeah, mindless slumbering mass. Whereas Swamp Thing, at least in the beginning, the original premise of him was that he was a scientist whose body had been transformed by a mishap, and so he still had human thoughts, human emotions, and that's a
Right.
And this came at a time when I was listening to the Sasquatch Chronicles podcast, and I keep saying to myself, if a human being could do the things that these Sasquatch could do, they'd be an effective superhero. They'd be like
There you
Spider-Man,
go. Yeah.
and that's when it kind of clicked. I'm like, and the other reason, of course, is that if I wrote this, it would just be another story about a Sasquatch, and I wanted to create something a little more original. And
Werewolf. Absolutely, Devil Dog. And by the way, I'm Team Man Thing. just put it out. Yeah.
It's okay. So, and then I thought back to an old late 50s horror film starring Michael Landon called I Was a Teenage Werewolf. If you've ever
Right.
seen that?
Yep.
You ever seen that movie? He's not an actual werewolf in the supernatural sense. He changes into a monster because he gets hypnotized. And for some reason, because people didn't know much about hypnotism back then, sort of like this occult thing, but it was rooted in pseudoscience. And he turns into a werewolf, and he doesn't have like the traditional European werewolf curse. It's just something that happens to him. And I started looking up. Well, I wonder if I could, just I was a teenage Sasquatch. Well, two things. First of all, I was a teenage ... every single thing you can think of. I was a teenage octopus. I was a teenage marsupial. Those are all taken. So and then also I don't want to write about a teenager because
because you're an old man and we don't relate to those anymore.
Well, yeah, the two comic book series that I wrote prior to this, Hyperactives and Young Paladins, were both teen books, and they were both about young kids or teenagers. So I didn't want to write about teenagers anymore. So I decided to age them up, and I said, okay, so I'm going to be writing about a human being who has, in some way, acquired the physicality and the physical characteristics of Sasquatch. Not all of them, but enough of them so that if you ran into this character and you didn't know anything about Sasquatch, you would swear up and down you ran into a Sasquatch.
Right.
So,
incorporating the intelligence of a human.
Right. He has the intelligence and the thought balloons of a human. And that's when I also realized this couldn't be a novella anymore. It had to be a comic book because mostly because I was friends with John Dillard and kind of wanted to see him illustrate this,
Right.
And I thought, well, maybe I could hire him to do like 6 or like a black and white hatching, cross hatching thing for each chapter, and kind of like Cycle of the Werewolf with Bernie Wrightson and Stephen King. But then it just I was looking at his Buckler artwork and artwork he was doing for somebody else, and I'm like, I want to see this comic. Yeah. And so that's how it became the comic book that it became. I made the main character.
All right, so hold on. Let's bring it on around third base and bring it home. Okay. So you decide to pull the trigger. We're going to do this as a sequential comic book. Tell us the pitch. What's the story? And then Christy, if you'll be ready to share his screen. Darin, do you have it pulled up and ready?
I have what pulled up?
Fund My Comic campaign.
Oh, yeah. Should have it. All right. Let's see. I do.
All right. So be ready to bring it up, but not just yet.
Right.
Give us the elevator pitch about who this guy is and why you think this has appeal for a modern audience. I hate that word, by the way, modern audience. Why this has appeal to a broad audience. To a broad audience. How about that?
Broad audience. Okay. Well, this is I'm not reinventing the wheel so much here, although there are going to be some things in this comic that I don't think you've ever seen before. Jake Yeager is a young man who is the heir to a family of lumber barons. He's among the last heirs of this old money family, and he had joined the Navy to get away from his hometown, like so many other people who join the Navy do, and he got a decompression accident. He was a Navy diver. He came up too fast, got what colloquially is known as the bends, and this affected his joints. So now he's sort of an invalid. He can't move without excruciating joint pain in most of his major joints. This disqualifies him from his job in the Navy, and he gets out on a medical discharge. He's home now, and he, through him coming home, we learn about his family background. We learn that in the 1800s, his ancestor, the lumber baron, was successful because the legend is he successfully parlayed with a tribe of local Bigfoot to get them to stop harassing his loggers.
Right.
They harassed other companies' loggers instead, and that's what kind of made him his fortune. And it's just a family legend, but it's one that Jake Yeager never really believed in. But he does have an uncle. it stuck with him. Yeah, everybody knows the story, right? And so he gets home, and his only plan when he gets home to the family mansion is to raid the liquor cabinet and just drink his sorrows away. But when he gets there, his uncle, who's the only other survivor of this family, is there waiting for him, and he is a.
It's okay, Christy. It's an in-depth interview.
Okay, I'm being told this
No,
is
no,
not an
no,
elevator
no,
pitch. I know.
He's
I
not
know.
in charge.
I know.
I am.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. His uncle is a scientist that works for an underground facility that makes chimeras in the Four Corners region of the country. Four Corners.
Tell people what a chimera is, or what you mean by that.
Okay, so there is a conspiracy theory out there. Fascinating. This idea that the United States is making chimeras. That when we found out about the cloning of the sheep Dolly, we found out about that like 20 to 30 years after it actually happened, and that they've been trying to splice animals together and trying to also create entities that mix human and animal characteristics.
Which is what a chimera is.
Yes, which is what a chimera is. And so this facility is referred to as the zoo. And this is not something that I came up with. This is an actual conspiracy theory that's out there. It's related to Skinwalker Ranch because the Four Corners region is near Skinwalker Ranch. And so Jake's uncle is a scientist who works there, who found out that his nephew found out about his nephew's condition, first of all.
Right.
Knew he was coming home, and sort of left the facility to come see him because he has something that he believes can actually help him make a full recovery. He's just got to refine it. Well, we find out that his scientist, that the scientist uncle left that facility in an unauthorized fashion, and they know that he took something with him. So they send two guys, the whole, the Sasquatch version of Men in Black. They don't look exactly like the Men in Black.
Right.
There's a little bit of a story there too, and one thing leads to another, and they're trying to get information about the whereabouts of his uncle from Jake, and they essentially cause him to have a car accident, make it look like it was an accident.
Right.
They run him off the road. Jake's in the car accident, and he wakes up.
I mean, poor Jake.
Poor Jake, yeah. All he wanted to do was get drunk, and he didn't have a plan or whatever. Yes. And he wakes up a month later in a body that he doesn't recognize, in an underground bunker that one of his ancestors was the mayor of his hometown, and during the 1950s, during the Red Scare, the bomb scare, they built a bomb shelter under the city, and that's where his family knows about it. Nobody else knows about it, and that's where his uncle, in a rush to save his life, gives him that untreated thing that he was trying to refine, and yeah.
All right, let's bring up the campaign. We'll kind of look at the video and some of the images, talk about it, and then we'll wrap up the little story here.
Okay.
Are you sharing?
Yep, I'm bringing it up now.
All right. So the book is called DEMI-FOOT, Urban Sasquatch. And let's give it a look here as soon as Christy embiggenates it. There we go. Yep. Currently at 80 backers. Now, by the way, for those that don't know, on a crowdfunding campaign, it's, hey, I've got this great idea, but I got to pay my artist, and this is what my artist is charging me, so I need this much money. And Darin's artist is John Dillard, who is amazing, but he ain't cheap. So the money that we raise goes toward producing this book. It does not go toward buying Darin toys, okay?
Right.
All right.
And 80 backers is nothing to sneeze at, you guys.
No.
Right.
That's rather impressive.
Yeah, Dillard is a hell of an artist. And Vulcan Liz wants to know if you'll be going on Friday nights. Darren.
If you don't know
Friday
who the
nights.
Friday nights are, Darren, by the way, I am live right now, so you guys aren't just listening to a disembodied
Oh,
voice.
okay. All right.
I'll hook you guys up.
All right. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I particularly love this one because, hold on, go back to that image. When Jake Yeager sees himself, Darren has let me in on this, so I'm going to tell it because uh, Darren will take 2 hours to talk about why he prefers one brand of hairdo over another. But basically, he's got just a little bit of vanity in him, and he doesn't want to look like a monster. And he's like, "Well, fuck, I already look enough like a monster." So he goes out and gets himself Brill Cream, a little dab will do you, or some Dapper Dan. What brand is it?
Uh, Gentleman John.
Gentleman John, and he gives himself a an executive coif hairdo, so he doesn't look like a monster. But it doesn't affect the hair on his shoulders or his arms or his
No,
or his
it's,
or his legs.
yeah,
But yeah, this is him when
it's
he
all he
first
can
sees
do.
himself. Yeah, he does
Yeah,
what he can
it's
do.
all he can do.
So Jake is well. I don't want to come back to Jake yet. Let's just finish looking at the campaign. Black Hawk here is a character that will appear in the next book, but this is a little tease done by Dan Lawless. Excuse me, our good friend Dan, and this is the image.
This was
The card, right? This is a trading card.
This is a jumbo javelin trading card, called that because it's a javelin in the picture. This was the first actual scene that John Dillard ever did of the character. So
Right.
it has that sense of gravitas, and yeah, we're offering a very simple, nice logo T-shirt, even a lunchbox for people, and our tiers. Most of them are. They build on each other. So
Yeah.
for the you'll get whatever was in the previous tier plus whatever is introduced in the next
Yeah,
tier.
we'll
We've
run
also
through those here in just a moment.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and run the trailer on the page. If we scroll back, who's in charge here? Yeah, there you go. Let's roll the trailer and get a look here. And
want to make it full screen.
yeah, make it full screen. Dun, 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 I'm doing that so we don't get copyright struck.
Hey, me too.
Oh, you'll be
Dun, 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 dun. I mean, check out the art.
Ooh, that is good. Oh, damn, that's hot.
No shit, that's hot. So listen, boys and girls, if you like Swamp Thing, the Hulk, the Man Monster, tragic Man Monster story, this book is for you. And I highly encourage you to go back it today. What happened to it? Where did it
Oh.
go? Darren, come on now. Darren. Poor Darren, now he's muted too.
not muted.
All right, so let's just real quick, let's run through the tiers. What I would really like to see, chat, if you guys could, let's get a couple of backers for Darren here. Because, I mean, we've done an in-depth interview here, diving deep into this poor man's psyche. $8 will get you the digital tier. And how many pages is the book, Darren?
The book itself will be 24 pages.
All right, 24 pages. So that's a 24-page digital for only $8. $15 gets you the book. Period.
Yep.
Amen. Okay.
This is an old school floppy with staples, but it'll have excellent paper quality.
Yep.
Ha ha. Hopefully they can hear you there.
What'd she say?
Oh, fuck. I said hopefully that's what they call my husband, but I was not on stage.
Okay.
All right, and then we have the
This
the trading card tier, the jumbo
Yes.
javelin trading card, which, by the way, you see it's $20, but that also means you get the comic book and the digital.
No, you don't get the digital. You get the physical and the jumbo javelin trading card.
Okay, all right. Like I said, and then at the next tier, we have T-shirts
We
for
added
you.
we had a T-shirt. Yes, you can pick your size. Um, we have miles and miles of fabric in case you need triple XL or something like
If
that.
you are a fluffy gentleman like we are,
Yes, I like to get the big sizes because I love shrinking my shirts.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, I'm that
we
guy,
have
Darren. I'm that guy. I wash everything in hot water and I dry it in the dryer as hot as I can. And
yep.
then it's like, I know I'm fat, but God dang it, I didn't gain 100 pounds overnight. What happened to this T-shirt? All right, so for $60, you get this is
Yep.
a metal cast friggin' lunchbox, just like from back in the days when you were a young kid, and you still get the T-shirt and the floppy and the card.
Yes, you do. And you could probably use it as an actual lunchbox, but most people are going to use it for a display item.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
$75 gets us what?
This is the immortalization tier, which gets you everything that we've said before except the digital copy. And then you get your name printed on the back cover as an immortal backer. And we've got 7 people who have done that so far.
Nice. You can
And
be.
then we have this. Yep. We have this tier that nobody's taken yet, which is for $500. You get everything we've talked about except for the digital. But you also get a character in the comic based on you in terms of your likeness. So we have 3 slots for that only. You can either be a bum.
Vulcan Live said he has backed it. Thank you, Vulcan. God bless you.
Thank you, Vulcan.
Thank you, Vulcan. Thank you, Vulcan.
And then at $60 we have.
Oh, $60. This is the retailer bundle. This is intended for people who have
Sorry,
comic
that was
shops.
for Vulcan.
Yeah.
One more time.
The retailer bundle is intended for comic shop owners who want to buy 5 copies at a discounted rate.
There you go.
So, yep. And then we have the collector's bundle tier, which is intended for serious collectors who want to have 1 copy to read, 1 copy to save for themselves, and a 3rd copy to maybe sell on eBay.
Or slab.
Or slab, yes.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So let's do this. Boys and girls, you can contribute to the campaign without even making a pledge or a purchase. I forget where that's at. Contribute, that red bar right there. Even if all you can do is throw my man $1,
yeah,
it's a worthwhile project, but I'm going to say this too. Darin is a good writer. It's a good story. We all know John Dillard's art kicks ass. So this is a no-brainer. And Darin Wagner is a honorably discharged veteran, a man of integrity. He's going to deliver what he promises. Period. Amen. Full stop. You're supposed to say amen, Darin.
Amen. Yes.
There you go. There you go. All right. So we've been going an hour and a half.
That's my cue.
We're getting. It's about that time to start wrapping things up, boys and girls. But listen. First of all, Vulcan, thank you. Those of you that are watching live right now, if you could give a thumbs up on whatever YouTube channel you're watching, that would be groovy. And, like and subscribe and do all the biddly boot down there at the bottom of the YouTube screen. But also, if you have the opportunity and you're watching this later, go over and back this worthwhile book and let's get this thing going.
Hey, by the way, you guys, because this hasn't been mentioned, I believe in the description of all of these lives, the link is there.
There you
So
go.
if you happen to be watching this later, or it hasn't been dropped in the chat enough, just go to the description of the video and you can link directly out to DEMI-FOOT Urban Sasquatch.
Fantastic.
And Zach Darin. And I have a question for Darin, and I'll come on camera for this one.
Yeah.
Darin, How bad do you want it, baby? You want it?
I do. I want to tell this story because, I've only done superhero team books in the past. I like the idea of writing only about one character. And again, I want to show people something they haven't seen before. You're going to see a comic book environment that it doesn't exist anywhere else. Even for example, if you know of Wisconsin superheroes like the Great Lakes Avengers and Mike Barron's the Badger, this is different than that.
So yeah, you want it. You want it bad.
Yes.
So Darin is saying he will come, and for $10,000 he will come and wash your cars in a Speedo.
Ooh, nobody want that.
I'm just
You
saying.
just lost me sales, Doc. You just
saying,
lost me
Darin.
sales.
Hey, there's all kinds of kinks out there, buddy.
You know, don't be kink shaming.
Well, I was going to say earlier when you're with that $500 tier that you have, like, have you considered approaching OnlyFans models?
Oh,
I don't know any OnlyFans models at all.
Sure, you don't.
okay. This has gone.
No, I don't.
Uncomfortable turn, ladies and gentlemen. We don't know.
The only one I've
We don't know exactly what's happened here. This is a PG show.
Yeah, the only one she was a part of our community at one point, but that's the only one I know of.
See,
all right,
you did nothing.
Yeah, I'm not going to go anywhere near that.
So DEMI-FOOT Urban Sasquatch is funding right now over on Fund My Comic. Get over there, show it some love, and while you're there, if you feel like it, you can check out my supernatural noir, A Damn Dirty Thing, starring Jake Bishop. You can get a comic book or the novella. Both are available. Both are very reasonably priced. I don't even remember what I'm selling them for. But also, if you just search A Damn Dirty Thing on the old internet there, you'll find the book being published by my other publisher, Edgeweaver Books, available wherever books are sold. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, doesn't matter. If you type in A Damned Dirty Thing, it will come up for you. In the meantime, Darin, thanks for allowing me to probe inside your brain.
The only kind of probing I like, yeah.
No rubber gloves. No lube.
No rubber gloves, yeah. Thanks for having me, Doc. It was very, very generous of you and Christy to give up your time. You know, Christy letting us into her house like
Glad
this.
to do it. You know, when I believe in something, I get behind it as much as I can. And I do believe in this story. I like the story. I like it. It's a good story. All right. That's going to do it for us. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Darin Wagner, for coming on and letting us interview you. Christy, my love, thank you as always for producing and hosting. Chat, you guys are the rock stars of every place you go. Without you, there's no point in doing any of this. Thank you. Peace out.
In a world where sequels and prequels and derivative slop rule the TV and movie landscape, one magazine dares to make fun of them all. One mag to roast them all. One mag to troll them. One mag to break their balls. And in the ratings, roll them.
Cut!
911, what are you reporting?
We got someone or something crawling around out here.
Did you see what it was? Was it a person or an animal or?
I can't tell. All I know is that my sensor light came on and I just happened to glimpse and see this thing running across the yard. A good-sized man or something. It looks like a man. I don't know what it was, just that it ran across the yard.
Okay. You've had problems in the neighborhood before?
Yeah, my dog was killed here just recently. I don't know what it was. Whatever it is, it's running. I couldn't catch it if I was going to chase it. But whatever it was standing up. I'm out here looking through the window now and I don't see anything. I don't want to go outside. Jesus Christ, you better...
Sir?
See up!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh. Okay, hang on.
He's right...
Is he in your yard, sir?
Yeah, God, he's big.
Okay, what's he doing in your yard?
He's looking at me.
Oh, and the guy is on foot.
I don't know what... It's a big... real big person. That's all I can say.
Okay, but it is a person.
Yeah, I'd say it was a person, somebody really big. But he's all in black.
Is he a black male or a white male? Did you actually see whether, or was he just wearing black?
He's all black and he's big. He is big.